Protect your energy. Not everyone deserves access. Stoicism. There is something happening to you right now that you may not even be aware of. Every single day, without your permission, without your knowledge, and without any warning, people are draining you. Not with weapons. Not with obvious attacks. But with something far more subtle and far more dangerous. They are draining your energy. Your time. Your attention. Your emotional reserves. Your mental clarity. Your creative power. Your peace of mind. And the terrifying part? Most of the time, you are letting them do it. Not because you are weak. Not because you are foolish. But because nobody ever taught you that your energy is sacred. That it is finite. That it is the single most valuable resource you possess, and that not everyone deserves access to it. The ancient Stoics knew this. They built their entire way of life around one radical, liberating truth. You are not obligated to pour yourself into people and situations that leave you empty. Today, we are going to talk about what that really means. How to recognize the people and patterns that are quietly stealing your life force. How to build boundaries that are not walls of fear, but walls of wisdom. And how to protect your energy so fiercely, so intentionally, so unapologetically, that you finally have enough left over to build the life you were actually meant to live. Stay with me. Because this one is going to change something fundamental in how you move through the world. Part 1. Your energy is everything. Before we talk about protecting your energy, we need to understand what energy actually is. Because most people think of it in purely physical terms. They think energy is about sleep. About caffeine. About how tired their body feels at the end of the day. But the Stoics understood energy at a far deeper level. Your energy is your life force. It is the invisible currency with which you purchase every experience, every relationship, every achievement, every moment of joy you will ever know. When your energy is high, when you are rested, clear, grounded, and protected, everything works. Your thinking is sharp. Your creativity flows. Your relationships feel nourishing. You make decisions from a place of strength. You move through challenges with grace. You attract good things because you are radiating something real, something powerful, something magnetic. When your energy is depleted, when it has been scattered, drained, borrowed, and stolen by the wrong people and the wrong situations, everything suffers. Your thinking becomes foggy. Your creativity dries up. Your patience disappears. Your relationships feel like obligations. You make decisions from fear and exhaustion. You repel the very things you are trying to attract. Marcus Aurelius, who managed one of the largest empires in human history while simultaneously fighting wars, battling plague, and navigating political betrayal, wrote this in his private journal. It is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live. And here is the question that cuts to the heart of it. How can you truly begin to live? How can you build, create, love, and contribute at the highest level, if your energy is constantly being bled out by people and situations that were never worthy of it in the first place? You cannot. And deep down, you already know this. Part 2. The energy vampires among us. Let us name the thing clearly. There are people in this world, and perhaps some of them are in your life right now, who consistently leave you feeling worse after every interaction. Not because they are evil. Not because they have made a deliberate choice to harm you. But because of where they are in their own journey. Because of their unresolved wounds, their unconscious patterns, their habitual ways of relating to the world. These are the people who call you only when something is wrong, and when things are right, they disappear. These are the people who meet every piece of good news you share with a reason why it probably will not work out. These are the people who are always in crisis, always in chaos, always pulling you into their storm, and when you have spent 3 hours talking them off a ledge, they are fine. And you are exhausted. These are the people who compete with you rather than celebrate you. Who make subtle comments that chip away at your confidence. Who need you to stay small so that they feel comfortable. These are the people who take your advice, ignore it, suffer the predictable consequences, and then call you to tell you about it, and then take no advice again. Epictetus, who understood suffering more intimately than almost anyone, having been born into slavery, having had his leg broken by his master, still chose to surround himself only with people who were genuinely committed to growth. He taught his students that one of the most important choices a person makes is not what they pursue, but who they allow into their inner world. He said, "Be careful to leave your sons well instructed rather than rich, for the hopes of the instructed are better than the wealth of the ignorant." What he was really saying was this: what you carry inside you matters more than anything you accumulate outside. And the people who shape your inner world carry enormous power over your destiny. Choose them carefully. Part 3. The subtle drains you are ignoring. Now here is where it gets more uncomfortable. Because not all energy drains come from other people. Some of the most devastating energy leaks in your life are ones you have created yourself. Patterns you have allowed to continue long past the point where they were serving you. The conversation you keep replaying in your head, arguing with someone who is not even there, draining you. The relationship you know is over, but you are not ready to face, draining you. The job that is slowly hollowing you out, but feels too risky to leave, draining you. The social media scroll that starts as 5 minutes and turns into an hour of comparing your real life to someone else's highlight reel, draining you. The promises you make to yourself and break, over and over, draining you. Not just in wasted time, but in the slow erosion of your own self-trust. The Stoics had a name for the accumulated weight of all this unresolved tension. They called it the tyranny of externals. The condition of having your inner peace held hostage by things outside your control. And their prescription was not complicated. It was not a 10-step system or a sophisticated framework. It was ruthless clarity, honest examination, and the discipline to stop tolerating what is costing you more than it is giving you. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." But there is a version of that principle that applies here. If it is not feeding you, stop letting it eat you. Part 4. Why you keep giving energy you do not have. So if all of this is so clear, if these drains are so obvious once you name them, why do so many good, intelligent, self-aware people keep allowing them? Why do we keep answering calls that exhaust us? Keep showing up for people who never show up for us? Keep pouring ourselves into situations that have no bottom? The Stoics would tell you it comes down to a few deeply human tendencies that, when unexamined, become chains. The first is the need for approval. Most of us were taught, explicitly or implicitly, that our worth is connected to how much we give. That to say no is selfish. That to protect ourselves is to abandon others. And so we give and give and give, not from genuine generosity, but from a desperate fear of being seen as inadequate, unkind, or unlovable. The second is the discomfort of conflict. Setting a boundary almost always creates discomfort, in you, in the other person, in the relationship. And most people would rather drain themselves quietly than face that discomfort openly. So they keep giving, keep accommodating, keep shrinking, because the alternative feels worse. The third is false hope. We keep investing energy in people and situations we have already privately admitted are not working, because we believe that if we just give a little more, try a little harder, be a little more patient, things will finally change. Epictetus addressed this with characteristic bluntness. Make the best use of what is in your power, and take the rest as it happens. You cannot change people who do not want to change. You cannot fix situations that are designed to remain broken. You cannot pour enough of yourself into a bottomless vessel to fill it. What you can do, what is always within your power, is choose how much of yourself you offer, and to whom. Part 5. The Stoic Art of the Boundary. The word boundary has become almost fashionable in recent years. It is everywhere. On social media, in therapy, in self-help books. And because it is everywhere, it has started to lose its weight. So let me tell you what a boundary actually is, through the Stoic lens. A boundary is not a punishment. It is not a rejection. It is not a wall built from anger or hurt, or the desire to control others. A Stoic boundary is a declaration of values. It is the outer expression of an inner decision you have made about how you will and will not be treated, not because you think you are better than anyone else, but because you have taken responsibility for your own life, your own energy, your own well-being. When you set a Stoic boundary, you are not saying, "You are bad and I want nothing to do with you." You are saying, "I have chosen to live in a way that honors my values and protects my capacity to do what I am here to do." And this interaction, this pattern, this dynamic, is incompatible with that commitment. That is not cruelty. That is wisdom. Marcus Aurelius lived this principle at the highest level. As emperor, he was surrounded by people who wanted things from him: his time, his attention, his favor, his mercy, his decisions. He could not possibly give everyone everything they demanded. And so he developed an extraordinary discipline of discernment. He knew which relationships nourished his capacity to lead well. And he was careful, quietly, consistently, without drama, to protect the inner space from which all of his best thinking and governing came. He wrote, "Confine yourself to the present." Which is another way of saying, stop giving your energy to ghosts, to past resentments, future anxieties, and people who have already shown you exactly who they are. Be here. Be present. And be very, very intentional about what you allow into this present moment. Part 6. How to know who deserves access. This is the practical question that everything leads to. How do you actually decide who deserves access to your energy? The Stoics give us a clear framework, not a rigid rulebook, but a set of questions to ask yourself honestly. The first question is, does this person make me better? Not comfortable. Not validated. Not entertained. But genuinely better, more honest, more clear, more capable, more aligned with who I want to be. Seneca wrote that we should choose friends who are improving and admit only those who will make us better. If the answer is yes, even when it is challenging, even when the honesty stings, that is someone worthy of your energy. If the answer is no, if this person consistently pulls you toward your worst self, your lowest thoughts, your most fearful and reactive patterns, that is a signal you cannot afford to ignore. The second question is this relationship reciprocal? Not perfectly balanced on a ledger. Not transactional. But is there genuine care flowing in both directions? Does this person show up for you the way you show up for them? Does your growth matter to them the way their growth matters to you? Because energy given without any return is not generosity. It is self-abandonment. And the Stoics were very clear, you cannot help anyone from an empty vessel. The third question is, do I feel more like myself or less like myself after spending time with this person? This is perhaps the most honest diagnostic tool you have. Your body knows. Your nervous system knows. After certain interactions, you feel expanded, more alive, more inspired, more connected to your purpose. After others, you feel contracted, smaller, more doubtful, more exhausted. Pay attention to that. It is not weakness. It is wisdom. Part 7. The courage it takes. I want to be honest with you about something. Everything I have described today sounds clear when it is written out like this. But living it, actually implementing it in your real relationships, with real people who have history with you, who have feelings, who may not understand, that takes a kind of courage that most people underestimate. Because protecting your energy will cost you something. Some people will not understand. They will feel hurt. They will call you selfish, cold, distant, changed. And here is the truth the Stoics would tell you, let them. Not with cruelty. Not with contempt. But with compassion and with firmness. Because the alternative, continuing to bleed yourself dry for the approval of people who benefit from your emptiness, is not kindness. It is a slow, quiet destruction of the one life you have been given. Epictetus taught that the path of wisdom is rarely the path of comfort. He said, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. Be willing to be misunderstood. Be willing to disappoint people who are counting on your unlimited availability. Be willing to sit with the temporary discomfort of someone else's disappointment, rather than carry the permanent weight of your own unlived life. That is not selfishness. That is the deepest form of responsibility. Because when you protect your energy, when you are rested, clear, full, and grounded, you are capable of so much more genuine good in the world than when you are running on empty. You become a better parent, a better friend, a better creator, a better leader, a better human being. The fullness you protect for yourself always overflows into the lives of the people you love. Part 8. Building your sacred inner circle. The Stoics did not advocate for isolation. They were not hermits, not misanthropes, not people who built walls and called it enlightenment. They were deeply relational people who believed that a small number of truly aligned, genuinely nourishing relationships were worth infinitely more than a vast network of shallow, draining ones. Marcus Aurelius had his circle. Seneca had his. Epictetus built entire communities of students who genuinely elevated each other. But they were all deliberate about who entered that circle. Your inner circle, the people who have full access to your time, your heart, your vulnerabilities, your dreams, should be small. And it should be chosen with the same care and intentionality that you would bring to any important decision. These are people who tell you the truth even when it is uncomfortable. Who celebrate your wins without resentment. Who challenge you to grow without tearing you down. Who hold your confidence without betraying it. Who show up in the dark without being asked. When you find people like this, hold them close. Invest deeply. Be as nourishing to them as they are to you. Because these relationships do not drain you. They recharge you. They expand you. They remind you of who you are when the world tries to convince you to be less. And the people who do not fit that description, the ones who consistently drain, diminish, or destabilize you, you can love them from a distance. You can wish them well without granting them access. You can hold compassion in your heart for them without opening your door. That is not coldness. That is the most sophisticated form of love, love that includes yourself. Part 9. The life that becomes possible. I want you to imagine something. Imagine a version of your life where you wake up every morning with your energy intact. Where you have not spent the night before spiraling through anxiety about a conversation with someone who does not have your best interests at heart. Where your time is filled with work that matters, relationships that nourish, and moments that you are fully present for because you are not distracted by 100 emotional debts you did not choose. Imagine having the mental clarity to pursue the things you actually care about. The creative energy to build something meaningful. The emotional bandwidth to be genuinely present for the people who truly deserve you. That life is not a fantasy. That life is available to you. But it requires a choice. A series of choices, made daily, sometimes hourly. The choice to say no when no is the honest answer. The choice to walk away from what is consistently taking more than it gives. The choice to stop explaining yourself to people who are not listening. The choice to stop performing your worth for an audience that does not appreciate it. The Stoics called this living according to nature, which did not mean living simply or primitively. It meant living in alignment with your deepest values, your truest self, the person you were built to be. When you protect your energy, you are not shutting the world out. You are making room for the right world to come in. And it will come. When you stop filling every available space with noise and obligation and people who leave you empty, there is suddenly room for the things, the experiences, the relationships, and the opportunities that were trying to reach you all along. Part 10. Your energy is your legacy. Here is the final truth I want to leave you with. How you spend your energy is how you spend your life. Every hour you give to something that drains you is an hour that was taken from something that could have built you. Every conversation that leaves you depleted is a conversation that could have been replaced with one that lit you up. Every relationship that consistently costs you more than it gives is a relationship that is quietly stealing pieces of the legacy you are here to leave. The Stoics were obsessed with one question above all others: am I living in a way that I will be proud of when I look back? Not proud in the way of accumulation, of titles and possessions and social validation. But proud in the way of integrity. Of having been true to who you were. Of having spent yourself wisely. Of having built something real with the finite, irreplaceable energy that was given to you. Seneca, who wasted much of his early life in the pursuit of things that did not satisfy him, wrote this with the urgency of someone who had finally understood what mattered. It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it. Your energy is not infinite. Your time is not infinite. Your capacity to create, to love, to build, to contribute, all of it is finite. And so the question is not whether to protect it. The question is whether you will start today. Right now. Not tomorrow. Not after this relationship runs its course. Not when things get easier or clearer or more convenient. Today. Choose yourself. Choose your energy. Choose the life that becomes possible when you stop letting the wrong things consume what was always meant for something greater. If something in this video stirred something in you, if you felt the truth of it landing somewhere deep, then I need you to do one thing before you leave. Subscribe to this channel. Because this is what we do here, every single week. We go deep into the wisdom of Stoicism and bring it to life in ways that are practical, powerful, and genuinely transformative. We talk about how to build unshakable boundaries, how to master your mind, how to move through the world with the kind of calm, grounded intention. Energy that attracts respect, opportunity, and real peace. This is not just content. This is a community of people who are choosing, every single day, to live with more intention, more wisdom, and more power over their own inner world. Hit subscribe right now. Turn on the notification bell so you never miss a video. And join thousands of people who have made the decision to stop giving their energy to everything that does not deserve it, and start investing it in the life they actually came here to build. The next video is already waiting for you. And so is the next, most powerful version of yourself. Protect your energy. Not everyone deserves access. Stoic mindset.